Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. Now, today I'm joined by Cecil, and we were just saying off air that it's not been the best time for Arsenal, and I think this would be a good therapy session for both of us at the moment. But first of all, thank you so much for coming on. Besides Arsenal, how are you doing?
Oh, besides Arsenal, life is great. I mean, yeah, no, things are good. Things are good. Obviously, New Year. Apart from this weather, though, I'll be honest, it's cold.
Yeah, not for me.
It's very cold outside. But no, apart from that, everything's good. I mean, we're looking on course. Yeah, professionally and work-wise, everything's looking good. Going ahead, some exciting things coming. The way of just, I guess, work the channel and whatnot. But yeah, aside from Arsenal, we're happy. I hope the same for you as well.
Yeah, it's good to have you on because I know it's been a while since we've had a chat. And I wish we were talking on better circumstances, but it's really good to have you on here. And obviously, at the moment, I think the mood is quite, flat at the moment, even at the games when people have been going and social media, just on Twitter, it's feels very, like a tough time for us at the moment. And obviously, we mentioned we have Spurs tomorrow, and I think this game can mean something if Liverpool will drop points, but obviously at the moment we've just been knocked out the FA Cup, and that one was really hard. I mean, to be honest with you, when we lost to Newcastle, that one was a really tough one to take. But it feels as though things aren't going our way. Jesus as well possibly has done his ACL, which obviously makes things harder for us. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on everything that's been going on right now, because I feel like we've had the worst sort of season in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, to go through everything would be here. We can talk. We'll be talking for obviously extremely long. But right now, like you mentioned, I think the mood right now isn't the greatest. And of course, I can caveat it by saying, "Oh, guys, come on! Like you're second in the Premier League, you're third in the Champions League group." But no one wants to hear that, because and it's how I feel right now. Is we're going through the same sort of things we've gone through before. It feels like
Yeah.
PTSD. That's why it's not the fact that we lost to our first home game to Newcastle. Like in hindsight, when you take yourself out of it, if you're an opposing fan or a neutral, you'd say, listen, what are you guys melting down about? But we could kind of see it coming, and we kind of know how the story ends. I think that's where the frustrations are starting to build. And the reason why I say that is because I think, listen, I personally wanted a striker at Arsenal, or a striker or another attacker, for more than just this January window, more than the last summer window. But even before that, there's me being me, sorry, on record on Aftv talking about we need a striker, we need this person, we need that person, and it kind of just being overlooked, which at times you give a bly because Mikel Arteta has done so well with the team in the past. So you kind of give it a bly, but then when you're screaming out for attacking options now, and we haven't got any, and they're just dropping like flies, or they're not to the level, fans are frustrated because we saw this coming, and I know we're not all top managers, and we're just fans at the end of the day. But I think
Yeah.
when it's so glaring obvious, you become frustrated. You become frustrated because it's like, how have you not addressed this? And obviously, I was going quite viral of late, or I don't know, things were popping up on Twitter because of my photo with the Cronkies. And 4 years ago, I've did a video on Cronky out, which I stand by. And then 2 years later, I meet them when they've started to invest and done a bit more for the club. And I meet them and I see them, and I got a photo of them, and people kind of try to ridicule that. But I think if you look at the timescale, things felt different. They were invested. I still don't, right now, I can't blame the Cronkies for what's happening at Arsenal, unless no one knows for a fact that
Yeah.
that the Cronkies have said you can't have any more money to buy a striker. We know that Arteta said in press conferences he doesn't want one. Or do you need a striker? He said no, which I find ludicrous. But yeah, I think that's why fans are becoming frustrated at the moment, because we feel like we've been taken for a bit of a ride. And it's not to, I don't want to discredit everything that Mikel Arteta has done, because I think he is a great manager. I think he's a great coach, but you're kind of seeing it slowly unravel now. And going ahead, like Spurs and Aston Villa at home, you still say, if Liverpool drop points, there's still some hope. I think it might be small hope for me. Maybe I mean, I'm kind of off the we can win the Premier League train right now.
Yeah.
However, and I think FA Cup we're out, Carabao Cup is I'm going to go up there like an idiot, and I know it's already done, but support the team, whatever. I'll go there and see what happens, but I won't be ecstatic doing that whole journey that night. But I think we're out of that as well. The Champions League is a big ask, is a massive ask. And from what I know, obviously our news come out today that we're going to push for that top 8, which I think is wise from Arsenal. And
Mm.
then considering we're out the FA Cup now, during that next weekend of the next round, they're going to try and book a trip to Dubai. This magic trip that changes everything. Let's hope it does do them some good.
Yeah.
And we go on a run. I don't see us going on a run that will take us to winning the league, because I still think it's too much of a big ask to win the league. Right now, things can change. Where I'm sat right now and game week we're in, I don't see it happening. Champions League, again, it's a big ask, but it can't. Listen, football's a funny game, and it's luck of the draw. But
Yeah.
right now, it just feels like that's why I feel the mood of the fans is kind of where we're at, because it feels like we're kind of edging towards an end of a season with lifting no trophies, which has always been the biggest fear, because the manager at the start of the end of last season said, "Listen, you shouldn't be happy with this season because we haven't won anything." He said that, and the last game in the stadium to the fans, he understands where this club should be, and we should be achieving trophies. So we're only right to feel disgruntled and upset that we're heading towards that. And by the end of the season, I can see why there might be questions on the manager. Right now, I think it's a little bit ridiculous and argue, and I can see why there's frustration. But to say get rid of the manager right now, to this second, one, I know it's not going to happen. I think many fans will understand it's not going to happen right now. But I understand if it comes to the end of the season and you haven't picked up stuff, you're frustrated. And then I even spoke about the injuries, the lack of real depth in these positions. Some of the players that I think are frustrating fans. Obviously, there's a Havertz hive and a lot of people that back him, but I've always questioned Kai Havertz. Even last year, he's done well, but I always had, from when we first signed, and granted I've been on Aftv and I do welcome videos, I welcome the player, I think in the best way possible, but I've always had question marks on things I don't agree with. Kai Havertz to me was never a striker. We bought him as a midfielder, didn't work. We forced him in, highest paid player, and then missing big chances. You're open to being criticised, and that's what it is right now. And the same with some other players. But again, we can speak about loads of facets around Arsenal, why I think the fan base and myself are quite upset. But you let me know where you want to go with this, and I'll kind of address.
It is tough, isn't it? Because I think, like we said, I mean, I do think with you, I think yes, there might be a chance we can win the league if Liverpool drop points, but in reality, Liverpool will probably win the league. But I think the hardest thing as well is with the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, even just one of them would have been good for us to win the season. And it is tough because against Newcastle, I don't really think we're going to go there, score 2 goals or score another goal, extra time, anything like that. I don't see that happening, especially at the moment we know Jesus possibly out for a while, and in our attack, it's just not working, especially with Saka out. We're desperate, like you said, for a striker. The striker thing is massive, and I think you make a good point because we can argue about the Cronkies if they care and all of that, but obviously we don't know everything that's been going on behind the scenes. But we do know Arteta has had money, in the last few seasons, and these are his players that he has brought in. And I think this summer, I don't know how you feel about the window, but I wasn't I don't think at the time it was terrible, but I didn't think it was great. I thought if we maybe brought in a striker, a winger, then it could be better. But I think now you're looking at it and you think he could have done things differently. I mean, the Sterling one's an interesting one because I want him to do well, but he's not had enough time, and Arteta's not really played him. I'm not going to say he's going to win us games, he's going to score us tons of goals, but I think if Arteta's bringing in these players, he's really got to play them if he believes in them. And maybe this is the time we'll see more of Sterling, because obviously we don't have a lot of options right now. But do you think? Yeah, go on. Yeah.
But go on. Into this, so quickly, let's just go straight to the window. Like I mentioned before, I think I rated it quite highly because of the outgoings as well. I was quite happy to see Eddie Nketiah moved on, if I'm being honest. Not so happy, obviously, to see Emile Smith-Rowe go, but listen, they got a fee for him. I don't see Emile Smith-Rowe ever lasted 90 minutes in an Arsenal side, and being that real difference maker. He's had an okay season, but if you speak to Fulham fans currently, they aren't massively happy with him as much as he's a Highland boy, and I've always got a place for Emile Smith-Rowe. Reece Nelson obviously going on loan also to Fulham. Getting players out that we're just going to kind of rot and sit on the bench. That added to why I rated the window okayly. Now, talking about the players that we brought in, Calafiori, fine, good player.
Yeah.
Happy with that, whatever. I'm not going to... Listen, it's not an attacking player, but he's a good player. I can't be annoyed at bringing him in. I think he's good. Mikel Merino, I think, is getting a lot of stick right now. A lot of stick from the fan base. And I think I think it's a bit premature personally. I don't think he's a world beater, which is a shame because he came in as a kind of a key signing, and also he's come. I think fans expected more, which I can understand. He's a Euro winner. You expect to come in and hit the ground running. I always say, players coming from different leagues and whatnot and haven't needing time to adjust. Give him a bit of time. I give him a bit of grace period. And on top of that as well, he's come into an Arsenal midfield that, if I'm honest, it's pretty unbalanced. It's always chopping and changing. It seems like Mikel Arteta doesn't really know what wants in there. Whether Rice is going to play in the 6 or the 8, or Thomas Partey moving in and out, whether Mikel Moreno plays the 6 or the 8, he doesn't really know. So I think that all contributes to the signing being not hitting the ground and being a complete success. But I also think, don't go too harsh on him, because I think there actually is a player in there. I think he will benefit this side. And then lastly, Raheem Sterling. Obviously, I'm Jamaican, and there's a small bit of Jamaican tax, and also the fact that when he arrived, so the video that he did, and again, you can just say that's PR, and I understand that, but I bought into that. You're yet to see me, and those sort of things, I take pride in, especially when I was playing, I take pride in what I say, especially when you're going to say it to your fans. You take pride in it, you want to show up, and what you've said, you kind of want to stick to. Now, there's an argument to say Arteta hasn't played him enough, and that's true. But I've also watched him play, and I could see the frustrations from Arteta. And I've said this on many shows that he doesn't defend very well. Yes, he's an attacker, but Bukayo Saka on that right wing has to defend, has to get back and work hard. Martinelli, a lot of people commend how much he works hard and works back. So you have to do that in the Arsenal side. He wasn't doing that at the beginning. Right now, we have no option, so he has to play. But the window for me, like I said, I think I might have rated it. I don't know if it was 7 or 6, but it is more a 6 because we didn't address.
Yeah.
It could now, actually, to be fair, if I'm honest, now the situation we're in, you put it down to a 5. But at the time, I didn't really think. I said we needed an attacker, but I thought we'd be able to get through off the back of by 2 points. I thought these additions may just get us over the line. And in January, I expected us to sign a striker. I thought. If you're not going to do it now, then at some point we're going to get an attacker. I know we've got Sterling, but if he didn't work out, and you get an attacker in January, if he does work out, you probably, as much as I wouldn't want this, you don't get an attacker. Address that in January if Sterling's worked out. But he hasn't. We've got more injuries. We have literally no one really who's thriving in the front three. So you have to address it this window. And I think, again, that builds to the frustration of fans. And it's all justified. It's all just, even today, and I'm a positive fan who kind of I would take some BS at times, in the sense that if you show me, okay, you're looking to sign someone that makes sense, I would say, okay, Arsenal, at least you're trying, and I can kind of get on board with that. Yeah. But today they've released the news about Martin Zubimendi, a defensive midfielder, coming in the summer. At first I went, oh my God, we're getting Zubimendi. I put in the group, Bryce, this is brilliant. Then it said in the summer, and I said, "Yeah, what are we doing? And that throws up a lot of questions, because, firstly, Zubimendi's that's a great signing, by the way. It's a good signing. I understand he probably comes from Mikel Arteta, and he's probably spoke with him, and he fits the project, quality player. But where's the
I know, it's crazy.
Terms agreed for an attacker. And if I'm honest, even if they say an attacker in the summer, we're not going to be happy, because right now we need a striker.
Yeah.
So again, it feels like they're dropping that news to kind of sweet us over, but I kind of see through that BS there. But a good signing. It does throw up questions of where Mikel Arteta's going to play him, because he's the 6. So what happens with Thomas Partey? What happens with the other midfielders? Then it throws up questions of, will Mikel Arteta? He's probably going to stay, which is annoying to fans. But even if he wins nothing, I mean, you can sack a manager if all things go south for Arsenal. So say if we lose to Tottenham, Aston Villa, we start dropping out of we drop down to the lower, I don't know, 4th, but around that area, below 4th. We drop out the league, the Champions League in the next rounds. Then you might sack a manager, or if you see a complete turn of form to be bad. But with Martin Zubimendi signing, Mikel Arteta is going to play a big part to that, especially with no Edu really at the moment. He's on garden leave. He's signing really for the club Arsenal, but also Mikel Arteta being there. So you expect him to stay. And the club, I don't think the board, I don't think they really see Mikel Arteta, unless we really put pressure on them.
Yeah.
as really bad because Stan doesn't really have any involvement. He really doesn't even have a clue about football. If I'm being
Yeah,
honest,
it's Josh that's more the
Josh is
guy
more
that's, yeah.
involved. Yeah, and if I'm honest, if you look at what's happened over the past couple of seasons, and I've spoken with Josh, so I know that he really he backs Arteta. Whatever he wants, he will do, and that's why I say he's backed. He's been backed, so you can't really question that. So I feel like he will rely on Arteta to keep things sweet. So if things go south, I don't see them sacking him because I think they still think things are.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really toxic, which we can definitely have the power as a fan base to do. But right now, I don't think right now is needed. End of the season, we'll see. Sorry, long.
It's a tough one because I think I actually think there's a good argument to have about can he take us any further? Is
Yeah,
this as far as Arteta can take us? And I can also see it as, like we've said, that he's taken us a long way. And it's a tough one because I was doing a show the other day and someone said to me how much we won under Wenger in his not great years, and we were still winning FA Cups. And I think as fans now, I mean, I'll just talk on myself, but I would rather us win something than. I know if we came fourth, it would be we've dropped a lot off this season. We've not done good, but I think as fans, I feel like we need a trophy. We need something to look forward to, and I think, like, the season's going by, and there's a chance we can win the league, or we can beat Newcastle. All of it feels a bit unrealistic, but we do have a chance of doing that. But I think the Arteta conversation is quite interesting because I'll be honest, right now, I do feel a bit tired of him. I feel a bit like his press conferences, like I don't listen to them because, like, they'll just annoy me. And I think his decisions this season, hasn't been great. I mean, the midfield as well, unless there's been big injuries, I feel like Rice, Partey should always play there unless something's happened. And it's a tough one, really, because I do think people are being harsh in some ways and disregarding what he's done over the past few years. But I also think we can't just keep finishing second season after season. And I think we're feeling a bit tired. I mean, I want to know how you feel because it's a bit unlikely we're going to win something. Do you think he needs more time? Like, because it's a hard conversation to have because I sort of don't know where I feel right now.
I don't. For me, I don't think it's actually a harsh conversation because he understands. I'll tell you, of all people, he understands where this club should be. I mean, we've had some legends in Aftv recently that I've kind of brought on, and they speak about where the club was and what we've won and whatnot, and even some of the people that Arteta's played with or he's been around. Listen, he didn't come in the glory years, but he's won some FA Cups, like you said as well, and so he knows where this club should be. So to say that when there's a whole trust process, there's a 5-year plan, 5-year project. I know these are buzzwords, but these are his words, right? When you come to the end of that, and when that 22-23 season when we was flying and we came second and playing amazing football, it was over. We were overachieving, if I'm being real, at that time. And I know we didn't win anything, but I think there was ahead of their project, which they planned for, I suppose, to be starting to win some sort of trophies around the 5th year, which is now. If that's not happening, just that in itself is enough for me to say, well, you had 5 years, and I always used to get frustrated with the culture of just sacking managers. I didn't like that. I never thought that was Arsenal. Arsenal are a classy club. I don't like the chopping and changing of managers and going through cycles and cycles and cycles and having that. But Arteta hasn't been part of that era. If anything, he's been given a lot of more time than what most get at clubs. So you've had your time. If you don't deliver, and I'm not the one screaming down the mic, I'll never be like, oh, Arteta out and sack. Because you can say the same thing, just in a way that we're talking about it now. I think if you don't get by the end of the season, I think it's justified that it's time to move on. You've taken us to the best that you can. And in the way you're feeling right now, you say you're a little bit confused, but you're also bored and it's stale. I look at Arsenal now and think, I'm not actually enjoying the football.
We're not playing great, really.
Like, at times I used to be like, okay, yeah, we're finished in second, cool, we're challenging. And I'm actually enjoying, we're scoring a bucket load. Like last year, we're scoring bucket loads of goals, slapping teams, clearing stadiums. But right now, we're getting disgruntled fans, toxicity growing amongst the fan base. Football's not great. We're not relying on set pieces because we are scoring from own play as well, even though it's less than what we have been in the past. But we are. But again, watching the football isn't It's not great in build up. We're not popping teams apart. So all these factors makes a fan frustrated and question you, which I think is more than fair. And I'm not defending what he's done in the past. That's the one thing I think when fans are so angry and they push for the sacking of a manager, they don't always have to caveat with, okay, we understand what you've done in the past. But I think we really celebrated and really did. I do understand what he's done in the past. Mikel Arteta, for me, is a genius of a coach. And people will laugh and say, but what has he won? But I think what he's done and how he changed Arsenal is phenomenal. I think he moves on and gets another big job. I think he might even go to Barcelona in his next job. I think he is highly rated as a young manager. But sadly, I think you've taken us... Well, the season's not finished yet. These are my things right now, but this can all change. So I'm very aware not to just push to sack a manager right now, because I don't agree with that. I think at the end of the season is the perfect time to assess what you've done. And if you haven't achieved, then I think it's only right. I think that's very justified.
Yeah, I agree, because like at the start of the season, things were going quite good actually, and I couldn't ever imagine myself thinking this, but I think like the last sort of maybe 10 games, like you said, we've not really been playing the best football, and I don't actually have a problem if we're playing bad, but if we're getting results, then that's obviously good. But yeah, the attack, like we said, on midfield, just everything just hasn't really been good, and I've noticed this season. I mean, and there are certain players, I know Martinelli went off form a bit last season, and I do sort of wonder about the players' form. Is this got anything to do with Arteta, or are they just all a bit low in confidence? Have the injuries affected them? Because I just think, if we're being honest, we can blame Arteta for certain things, but if you look on the team and the players that are playing, Trossard, Martinelli, Jesus, Havertz, they should be taking more of them chances. I mean, against Man United, Havertz should have at least scored one of them, and if he scores that, then we're through, and people wouldn't really be having as much conversation about Arteta. But we go back to the point about a striker, and like since Aubameyang's left, Nketiah's left, we've never really brought anyone in, and we're talking about midfielders, which is great for the summer, but now we need to bring in these players in. I just think, like, we're looking ahead at the game as well tomorrow, and I just think to myself, like, how are we going to score? Do we put Gabriel up front? Like, what do we do?
Let's talk on that, because obviously we brought in Gabriel Jesus, who's of course a striker, but never 15 league goals in the Premier League at all. And at the time, him and Zinchenko, transformative for Arsenal. I can admit that, but you go past those players. We need attackers. And what blows my mind, I was thinking about this today, funny enough. Aubameyang, I know he fell out with Arteta in the end, but he single-handedly, if we're being real as Arsenal fans, he won him the FA Cup, right? He won him and Arteta saw that. He ended up negotiating his new deal and whatnot, and being part of that. He must have understood that man himself got him that trophy, right? That, by the way, gave him extra time in the job. I'm a fan of Arteta. I don't want to go too hard for that, but if we're looking at truths, that's the truth of it. So when you see that, how do you not think an attacker is a good striker, a good attacker is so important, when that man got us out of a crisis really by winning the FA Cup for you? I don't know how he's an intelligent man, but that's one thing I thought today. I said, he won you the FA Cup, a striker. Why would you neglect that position when they can really, really affect your position as a manager? And granted, people will say, the old cliches, defenses win you leagues, but I'm not being funny. When they say that, they don't mean defenses and defenders scoring you all the bloody goals and defending them all as well. Like, you need defenders to defend. And go and score goals. That's how you win games that lead you on to winning trophies and becoming successful. So that's one thing. I think him neglecting that position is crazy. And then you said about you don't see Arsenal scoring. If people watch me, and obviously at times I don't, I'm not always giving my opinion. So at times you have to find certain videos that I'm on to find it. But I've been saying this for a while. Even against Newcastle, I predicted in the Aftv preview that we'd lose 2-1 because. And granted, I said we'll get one, but that's only because it was in a cup competition where there was a second leg. So I expect if we go down, at least try and fight to get one goal back. So when we go back to the second leg, we have a bit of fight around us to claw it back and give us fans some hope. In the end, we lost 2-0. But then I looked at our attack and said, we're not good enough. We're not good enough. We're not good enough. And then I said about Man United, I said 1-1. and I predicted that. It ended up being 1-1. Obviously, we lost some penalties, but I predicted 1-1 because I was like, we can't score goals. And if we score, I said it'll probably be from a midfielder or a defender. Gabriel Magalhaes showing us how to score. And then today, I mean, we haven't played Spurs yet. This is tough. I've predicted one. Well, I mean, we'll get into Spurs talk a bit later. But just to give you an idea. I give my predictions either 1-0 either way. But that's because Spurs, yeah, they got a bit of an attack, Solanke, Son, and whatnot. But their defenders are woeful. But we haven't got the attackers to really capitalize on it. So I don't see us scoring. I don't really see them scoring because our defenders are so good. So I'm like, it's going to be a tight game. It will fall either way. But it is a derby, and it could be a high-scoring game. But right now, what I've seen and what we are as Arsenal right now, with all the injuries and whatnot, and the fact we've got attackers low on confidence, I don't see where our goals coming from.
That's the thing we've got. I mean, I just don't know. It's so hard. I mean, because it'd be good if Sterling plays for this game. Because we'll talk about lineups in a minute, but I just don't really know sort of where we are going to get the goal from. I mean, maybe if Odegaard, picks up his form, has a good game, he might create something. But like you said, it's really hard to see where we can score because Martinelli can, have a few good runs, but in that box, no one's able to score. And it is frustrating because they should really be scoring that. And I think maybe they are a bit low in confidence at the moment. But like you said, Spurs, they're not great either. And the defensively, they're bad, but I also think if Saka was playing, I would say he'd probably score us a goal, but
of course
we don't have it.
We don't have Saka. And I keep speaking to fans and they just say, Cecil, I miss Saka. I said, brother, we all miss Saka. A bit
We miss him so much.
Look how things have changed. Look how things have changed since he's been gone. And it's funny because I think fans are kind of saying that with Martin Odegaard, but we actually were kind of turning over games and pulling out we weren't losing games when he was away as much. So, but Saka's a different kettle of fish when he's really running for our attack. And if we were like I don't know if we want to go into the Spurs talk a tiny bit, they're going to give us chances because he plays a high line, but can we capitalize? It's always the question. Will we capitalize on it? Because we're a team that's so overcoached that yes, Ange will play the high line, but because we like to pass and build up play and dominate possession and suffocate teams, will we catch teams on the counter? I don't know. Will Arteta look to change that? I hope so. But I think Ange is not naive to think, I'm going to stick to my principles, but I'm aware this is a North London derby that has a big impact on the fan base and also me in this managerial job. Because even the last time we played them at their place, he did do some small tweaks and he played well. So I don't know. I worry about this game and they will give us chances. It just depends if Arteta will release the handbrake and let our players, the little players that we have, go and enjoy themselves attacking wise. Sterling, if you let Sterling do what Sterling does, he can get in behind. Martinelli as well. But you just got to let them have the freedom to do it, which I don't know if we're coaching into them right now.
And it's a tough one as well because, I do think Trossard right now is a bench player. And I think he does a good job. He's done a good job of that in the past, coming off the bench and helping us. But I know at the moment he's sort of being forced to play, or I know he came on extra time, but I think that's the thing we're having is we can't really bring anyone off the bench. I mean, I really love Ranieri and I was really enjoying him and watching him. I think if he was playing for this game and he was fit, I would feel a lot more confident because I think Sakri brings you that bit of enthusiasm, energy in the game, but we don't really have that energy. And like you said, it's going to be tough on where we score goals. And another thing that I was interested by was obviously the penalty that we had and Odegaard missed. People, I was chatting with fans online, some fans were thinking Havertz should have taken the penalty. At the moment, our team is low in confidence. Who do you think is our best penalty taker? Because I look at Havertz and I think, I don't know if I have much confidence in you either to take the penalty.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, Saka for me is obviously the best penalty taker.
Yeah.
Right now he's obviously not available. And it's funny, again, I got clipped. When Odegaard took the penalty saying his ankle, because and people laughed at that. And I get why it is quite comical when I'm screaming his ankle, because I had a feeling he'd miss. One, because of listen, anyone can miss a penalty. I am one to shy away from penalty, even when I was playing professionally, because I understand the pressure is a lot. So I know what it's like to take a penalty, and when you're having a bad game, stepping up to take a penalty it plays on your mind. There's no one can lie and say that. Every player will tell you that if you're having a bad game, taking a penalty, I mean, it's a risk. It's a risk. And the reason why I said his ankles because he got injured.
Yeah.
10, 15 minutes before that, he was hobbling around the pitch. I can't believe he came out in the second half, if I'm being honest, because
Yeah, I was surprised.
he clearly was in pain. And fans that were saying that Havertz should have taken it, I do understand that. I would have probably handed it over to Jorginho or Havertz. But at the time, I don't know if Havertz had the most confidence as well. Clearly, obviously, he missed his penalty. He missed big chances. But I mean, before the big chance, the penalty may have happened. So if that's the case, maybe he should have given it to Havertz. But Robbie kind of pushed away that my thought. And I said, listen, he's the captain. Martin Odegaard, he takes a penalty. But I just think in the game, you're a leader, you're a captain. You make the decisions. You should make the decision if you feel right to take this penalty.
Yeah.
I always make the decision if I want to take a penalty or not. And I'm very open and honest about it. And I know even at my clubs, they're like, why do you turn away from penalties? Like, you're a striker. And I think people would say that's quite, that's scared of you. You shouldn't be doing that. But I think it benefits the team me not taking it because I'm not confident at taking it, especially if I'm having a bad game. So I think Odegaard as a captain maybe should have made that decision. However, let's not take away from the save was a good save. If I'm as well, I've got to admit that the save was a good save. So, and people can miss penalties, like I said, but I just think there's more glaring things that went wrong in that game. I just think I wouldn't have been. I didn't think it was wise him taking the penalty, but people might say you're being wise after.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit surprised, like you said, he came out after half time, and I think in the first half before it ended, you could see he was limping a bit, and I thought, is it wise to maybe play him if he's not fit? But if he must have felt like he could play in the second half, because I don't think Arteta would have played him unless he had to. But that penalty,
we have as well, Sophie. I don't know who.
Yeah.
Who if he came off then?
I don't think we have.
You're right in the 10, or you look at obviously put maybe Zinchenko in the midfield and whatnot, but like he's probably said. And that was a massive game. So he's probably said, even if you're not 100% fit, we need you. So,
yeah. He didn't. I don't think he had much choice really, because I think at that point I was thinking to myself, like, I know, to be honest, I think Odegaard has been playing with like an illness, because I know he was a bit ill like a few games ago. So, but we do need him, and this is the situation we're in now because of these injuries. But I'm like you. I think when someone takes a penalty, you sort of know if they're going to miss. I literally couldn't watch it because I knew he was going to miss. I just had that feeling. But I think we're having this problem now where I don't know which other players would be able to score that, because I think Havertz as well. I mean, I hope he can get his goals back, because it's been a weird season for him, because I thought he started off, pretty good, and then it sort of faded away, and we really need him to step up now. And obviously, I think it's important to say, obviously, what's happened with the wife, his partner, the messages that were sent was, unacceptable. And I think it's good that Arteta, spoke about that as well. But I think as fans, we do support the team. We want them to win, but I think we need them to do a bit better than what they are doing. And obviously, I do wonder what the atmosphere is going to be like for this game, because, does it mean much? I know we want to beat Spurs because it'll feel good and we can brag a bit, and maybe if Liverpool slip up like we mentioned before, it'll feel better. But I think as fans, I think a lot of people are sort of losing a bit of hope now. But I think, it's been a few days since United game. I personally feel a bit better about things. I mean, I think if we bring in a striker, then I think fans will be happy. But for this game, what is your lineup? Because I know we're quite thin in the attack.
So we're going to be clutching at straws for this one. Okay, yeah. Okay, so the 11. Okay, wow, I didn't see this coming. There's not much to choose from. They could have done this video now, because there's been an update from obviously Arteta on some fitness-wise on some of the players. Obviously Liverpool playing tonight as well, which is going to be an interesting watch against Forest. But to go to the 11, Ethan Winier has actually been back in training, not with the squad, but he's back on grass. That's good news. So he's not too far from coming back, from what I believe. But it's too soon, obviously, for him to play in this game. Well, he might be on the bit. Well, listen, starting 11, obviously Raya in goal. Right back is an interest.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Came off injured, so they say. at half time.
I think it's been said he's okay, but I just thought he's like a game away from like another injury. But we don't have money options really.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one. I mean, if he's available, then Timber goes there. If not, obviously he's going to play Partey there. But I'd actually like to see, and James has been campaigning this, and big up him, but Declan Rice back, because it makes sense in the sense that, you know, he's that side. He's more comfortable. He's right foot. He's more comfortable that side. He can link up play as well. He drives forward as well. So he drives into that midfield. He does invert. So and in my opinion, he should be a 6 personally. Anyway, so if he's going to drive it and invert, he's going to go into that position anyway. He can feel comfortable there and then cover the right back, because defensively, I think he's one of the best ball winners that we have, the way he reads play and whatnot, and doesn't really get taken on when it comes to 1v1 defending. So I'd like to see Declan Rice there, but he's probably going to go with Partey if Timber's not fit, but if not, Timber. That's the logic. Centre back pairing, Gabriel Saliba, standard. Like I said, just quickly, you mentioned before, you said about like the players, you know, being frustrated or like with the injuries and whatnot. I actually think right now the players are playing for Mikel. I see some disgruntled players at times, but I think they still believe in what he's trying to do. But there gets to a stage as a defender where you're like we're defending so much and trying to keep goals out, and we're also scoring your goals. Like, please start converting the chances you're getting given.
Yeah.
Please, because you can't all be us. And Gabriel and Saliba, I can imagine, are probably starting to get a little frustrated. And these things build, and like these are sensational centre backs. And obviously it's a tough conversation of, well, when big clubs start coming in from the Real Madrid and that start knocking, if you're getting this much pressure on you and you're being criticised for little things, but because you're getting criticised for not defending goals when you should be 3-0 up, you start to think, well, I can go somewhere else and have a bit of an easier life and be regarded as one of the best anyway. So there is uncomfortable conversations potentially could be coming, because they got short careers as well, and they want to start winning things. But sorry, I digress. Gabriel and Saliba, left back. Left back, Miles Lewis-Skelly, but I'm trying to think. Yeah, winger wise, Miles Lewis-Skelly, unless Calafiori, I think is he ill still? I think he's available.
I honestly don't know really, because he's been playing and he's not been playing. It's inconsistent.
Yeah, I need to get a fitness report on him if he's fully fit, but I wouldn't even mind Miles Lewis-Skelly going in there, because again, it's not.
Yeah, he's done a good job.
Yeah, and he's going to be around a lot of senior players. It'll be a derby for him that I think will elevate him. We're at home as well, which Arteta seems to always go with. Miles Lewis-Skelly, we're at a home game, because I think, you know, you feel more safe as an academy player coming through. So that's my back line. Midfield, again, it depends if Timber's fit. But if he is, I'm going to say Partey, Odegaard, and Rice.
Yeah.
Standard. That's our best midfield three. It's a derby. I think we need to go with that. We need to win that midfield battle as well, because you don't want to get overrun in midfield. I think I've seen Spurs when they've beaten us before. The midfield is where we suffered. So we need our midfield. And then front three, so pick it out of the hat. I don't have a clue. Sterling on the right, Martinelli on the left, because I think that you need pace to exploit. Please, Arteta, please listen. Let them be free. Don't make them have to keep tracking back at times. And we should have the power to defend against their attacking their midfield. Let Sterling and Martinelli get in behind. Right. Up front, this is what annoys me the most. We have to go with Havertz, because we haven't got another option. He's had a stinker. I always feel like when you have a stinker, you should be dropped. I think that's fair. It's the life of football.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. We can't drop him. One, because I don't think Arteta's the one to bollock him and shout in his face and say, what is this? Because he's always been Havertz's guy and he's sensitive.
Yeah.
He needs confidence. So he's not one to bollock him. So I'm just like, well, how do you get a reaction out of him then? You're not going to bollock him. You're going to play him again because you have to. So really, he can carry on just doing what he wants, getting to pay the money that he's getting paid, and put up these performances. The only thing that stops that is if there's something inside him that says, now we have to really go for it. But I think we half saw that last season when he was confident, and we kind of reached the ceiling, and he didn't even hit 15 goals then. So it has to be Havertz. These are damning comments from me because I'm normally very confident, happy, and positive. But this is how I feel right now. That's the 11. Can it get the job done? We'll find out tomorrow.
I mean, that lineup, I'd go with that too. I mean, I think, Trossard coming on will probably be our only hope. If we if we can't score. Do you know what, if I see Partey at right back, I'll be quite annoyed because it just doesn't work. But I think Timber. I know Jorginho and Timber seem okay. Obviously, Jesus, like we said, he's going to be out for, if it's his ACL, probably the rest of the season. And I do feel bad for him because he's had so many injuries and it's a real shame. But I mean, it's what it is. I hope he's okay. But yeah, the game tomorrow, like we said, it's hard to be confident. I mean, defensively, I'm not too concerned because I know we conceded a lot, but I don't think we're too bad defensively. I just think the midfield's changing a lot, and that's affecting us. We can be quite poor in that midfield. The attack, like we said, I don't. I just don't know who's going to score if we are going to score. But yeah, what is your score prediction? Because I mean, I think 1-0 Arsenal, possibly. I mean, I think we'll just edge it, but it's hard to be confident right now.
I like so. You've always been. Remember, we've done videos now since I've really started, 3 years maybe on and off, and you've been very like consistent. Even with like there was times where I thought we're going to win the league, and you're like, no, I don't think. And then you're spot on that time as well. I think that was a few seasons ago. And it's funny now. I feel the same as you. You said 1-0. I said 1-0 either way. I went on another channel and said 1-0 to Spurs because I was in a really like minefield of just like if they come and do a low block, which they won't do because the Ange doesn't play that way. We struggle against a low block. We saw United, so we struggle against it. Don't really see us scoring a hat full of goals. And then I said, well, if a team comes out and attacks us and goes for it, like Spurs will do, how do we compete? Because really, you'd think that's the best for Arsenal. But I've seen Newcastle do that and try and turn it into an open game and go at us. And we think, oh, you know what? They're going at us. Let's see if we can go back and throw it back at them. We don't do that because we love control and suffocating teams. So, and if I'm honest, I fear when teams do that because I don't think we can respond to it very well. You can just look at the Newcastle game, for example, like I mentioned. So I do worry that Spurs do that. I'm not saying they're going to absolutely dominate us, but like you said, it's for me, my score prediction goes of what I've just kind of described. It's a 1-0 either way. We haven't got the attack to really, in my opinion, score a load of goals.
Yeah.
And then Spurs don't really have, they have a good attack, but we have a good defense. So I don't see them scoring a lot of goals as well. The only factor that makes this very difficult to make an accurate score prediction is it's a derby where, I don't know, if you get an early goal and the crowd get up and the crowd start really cheering and getting behind them, you might start building confidence and start just going at Spurs because it's a derby, you get physical, you get riled up and things start to happen and goals start flying in. That's one aspect that can change it. But I think there's more evidence to say it won't be like that than it will be like that. And it's the same either way, by the way. Spurs get an early goal, their fans get really up for it, and then we start. I don't want to be. How do I know?
I tried to think if they score first, obviously.
Yeah, it'd be worrying if they do.
It's so tough because I love this game, but I do hope the team feel up for it. I mean, I know Arteta knows how big this game is for us fans, and I think, the players must know as well that have been there for a while that it's a big game, for them and for us. But I think, like you said, if we can win this, then I think we can possibly go on a good run because, like we said, we've got Villa coming up and I find that always a tough game. Like, I just think our results against them, we've had some wins, but they're a tough team to beat, and I think we've just got to go on a good run now. And obviously, January, we are going to hope and pray that we just bring some players in that we need. But at the same time, if we lose this, then we could just go on a bad run again. So I just hope things just turn around for us. And I think it's hard because at the Emirates, I think fans now, like I said before, are feeling quite frustrated and a bit tired. And I know the team want our support and want us to cheer for them, but I think they're only going to get cheered when they score, really.
Yeah. Because I think obviously Arteta always says about the energy transmits from the fans.
Yeah.
But you have to show us more.
Yeah, for us to believe. Yeah.
And because I had a load of fans after the Man United game really disappointed with the atmosphere, and I get it, but when I spoke to Robbie, he was just like, yes, the Man United fans weren't exactly massively loud. They had a big allocation as well. Obviously, when they scored and got back into it, they started to believe a bit more. But that's how football is. I know He wants it to be we celebrate and it transmits straight away. But you have to. We're fans. We're coming to. We paid a lot of money to come and watch you guys. Like, you've got to kind of give us something to hold on to and believe in it and cheer. Like, I think that's standard. I think that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, also as well, just quickly as well, we have to win tomorrow. As much as I predicted 1-0 either way, the reason why I say that is because, and this is, I think, will ring true. I don't see us beating Villa. That and I'm not my score prediction. I'm not massively confident about, because I think Arsenal can. I think they probably will win this game. Actually,
Yeah.
1-0 either way, but I think they will win this game because they understand what it means. But and looking at Spurs, and they're not the greatest teams, but let me tell you, Villa, they have also recently haven't been great, but they are a good side.
Yeah, they're tough to beat.
They will cause us problems. So it's so important we win this game, because you can't lose to Newcastle, Man United.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a run where I don't even want to be around.
Even like a draw would be a bit disappointing. Like,
yeah, a draw would be disappointing. A draw would be disappointing. Yeah, I mean, it's better than a loss, but yeah, that would be.
I can start in my head. Like, I think 1-0, but I'm also thinking like 0-0 at this point, because I mean, I don't know who is going to score from our 1-0 prediction, but I reckon someone like Saliba or Gabriel from like a corner. That's where we're at right now. But yeah, I think, like we said, I think if we can get our first goal, I think we're going to get a few more. And I think as fans, we want to, like you said, we want to see some exciting football that we've not really seen in a little while. And we also know these injuries are difficult, and we are having to manage through it. But I think if we get a win, a convincing win, then I think as fans will feel we'll have a bit more hope about our future. But obviously right now it does feel a bit doom and gloom. But
yeah, it does. It does, and it's annoying because I hate this. Like I said, period, because I don't like to be doom and gloom, but I think it's justified, because even if we win the game tomorrow, fans will be happy. But me personally, as a fan, I'm still like, I'm very concerned. Like I said, I don't think we beat Aston Villa. I think if you beat Tottenham, then there's news that we're going to sign an attacker in that week. Things can start. You can start to feel high, but my mood right now is I know how this story plays out for this season. So I'm at a stage where it's going to take a few more weeks for me to then be back to, yes, Arsenal, we're there. We can potentially win something. But right now, I'm just like, I kind of know how it plays out. So I'm just like, game by game, and then
I think if we do win and we go on a good run, it will put the fans back on the side. But I think as well, for like a lot of us to fully be convinced, we need to go out in January, and we need to. I mean, I'd love to bring in a few players, but if we could just bring in a striker, a winger, just some attacking players that are going to be good now. I mean, we mentioned before about the midfielder in the summer, like that's all good for them. But like we said, now we need to end the season like good. We need to do as best as we can. Even I know it's not what we want, but if we can get as close as Liverpool as we can, if we bring in some signings, and I think if we did bring in some players, I do think we could get a result in Newcastle in that Carabao Cup. But with the squad right now, I don't think that they can do that job. But we can do it if we have the right players. But I think right now, unfortunately, these players just can't give us what we want as fans, and I just hope we can get that win tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I think, like I said, a lot of fans feel a bit like it's just another game. I mean, we always want to beat Spurs, so we'll always go into this game hoping that we can thrash them or win. It feels nice when you've beaten Spurs, but I really do hope we can just get that win, do our job, and hopefully things will feel a lot more positive for us.
I agree. I just, like you said, it could be a good foundation for the season to move forward in the right way. I mean, Arsenal did the same last season. After the Dubai trip, after we got knocked out of the cups, we went on a run. So could we do that? I hope so. I hope this is the beginning of it. But I would. I don't know. I'd advise the club as much as possible to make some signings.
Yeah, we're praying. Please do. Yeah,
that's the message. winning games is important and we need it. But I just think I think they obviously are aware with the injuries. I think it's very important we just start bringing in some bodies that can, fill gaps and hopefully help towards
Yeah.
help us towards winning games. So yeah, but you're right. It's massive. It's a derby tomorrow. It's a must win. It always is when it comes to those lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really is that. I think, I don't know what we'll do, but we just have to go through it again as another loss. But it'd be weird as well playing Spurs without Saka, because he's played in a lot of our Northern derbies, and most of the times he has scored, and it'll be quite strange not having him there. But I also think we do have players that can step up. I mean, hopefully, I would love to see Havertz get a goal or have a good game. I think, like I said, we need to win this massively, and I just want to win. Feels like it's been too long without a win. And
Is it? I'm now questioning: is it unacceptable for Arsenal to lose? And obviously, the obvious answer would be yes. But I look at the Spurs team and think you went 120 minutes against Tamworth. You're not.
yeah,
You haven't got no Christian Romero, no Mickey van der Ven, no your doggy. You got all those. These are massive players for them at the back. So really, there shouldn't be an excuse to lose the game. So I just, as much as I've said 1-0 either way, it's because that's how I feel. It's what I've seen and what I've kind of deduced
yeah.
information. But it'd be very bad, very, very, very. I think everyone knows this. This is not rocket science to know. Even losing it when things are all rosy and really good at Arsenal, losing to Spurs in your backyard is never acceptable.
I think it would be embarrassing, really, but it's tough. It's tough to find the right word to describe it, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if we lost, because in our attack, defensively, and I mean, we have conceded, but it's just the attack, like we said, it's where we're going to find those goals. I mean, it'd be great if Sterling could do something good and play. I would give him a chance, but I also get what you said before about when he has sort of played in the cup games, he's not really done too much. So I do get why Arteta hasn't played him for a lot, and Saka will always be, in that position when he's not injured. But now that he's injured, I think Sterling has got a big job. Be great if he played. I do want him to do well, and yeah, this game tomorrow, fingers crossed, guys, we'll get the win. But Cecil, I've really loved having you on my channel today. It's been such a lovely chat with you. Thank you so much for coming on.
And thank you. And before I go, like, just big you up, like, every time. Honestly, like, you're an amazing human, amazing soul. I think people may get that from the content you watch. I'm sure your supporters and people that comment know this, but the messages on Twitter when you tag us, like, and just every little thing. And I know that you speak to a lot of content creators, because obviously a lot of them at Aftv. You've spoken with Robbie's daughter, like even Julian, and he asked me about you, and I said,
oh, that's so sweet.
go on her channel, and you have, like, she's so good, and he actually says, like, you asked him, sorry, what his greatest achievement was, and he said, like, he really appreciated those things. So what just how you are as a presenter and how you are doing content, honestly, I commend it and big you up every time, because like I said, you're a great
Oh,
soul.
thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll always be here when I can, and anytime you ask, like I said, I'll always be here. So thank you very much.
Oh, I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And yeah, it's been lovely to have you on to chat about Arsenal. Wish we were chatting after, a few wins, but it is what it is, guys. And I hope you all that will watch us back have enjoyed this. And please show Cecil some love as well. Please do like the stream, guys. Do subscribe, and I will see you all very soon. Bye, guys.